Everyone. Thank you for joining me for a few minutes. My name is Dr. Ann Spence, and I am the course lead for NR 730. This is the course where you will prepare your practicum readiness form, which must be approved by your faculty as well as the peer review committee. Once this form is approved, this will be the project that you will do going forward in your D&P studies. I wanted to take a few minutes to go over this form to show you exactly what needs to be in each category so that you can do it quickly and get it approved as soon as possible. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I've pre-populated some components just to save some time. Give me 1 minute here to find the correct screen. Okay, so this is the practicum readiness form. It is a PDF format. So the PDF format does give students some problems if it is not done correctly. Your faculty member will send you the PDF form. You should download it and rename it. Please state your name. So mine would be labeled Spence, Ann, practicum readiness form, and save it. And then when you open it, you should right-click it and open it in Adobe. If you don't have Adobe, it is free to download, so please do that. The form will not work if you do not use Adobe. So this first page is pretty self-explanatory, but I have filled in some components that are important. Of course, your name, your email address, phone number, your student ID, your address. You must state that you understand you can't collect any data until you get Chamberlain's IRB approval, as well as your practicum site if you need it. Then you should fill in these components. Mine is reducing interruptions during medication administration. This is actually the project that I did for my D&P project. It's at Children's Hospital. I just put some fictitious names in here, Jane Doe and then Dane Joe. Contact information for the practicum site decision maker. It's very important that you put the date that you talked to the practicum site. You must make sure that you talk with them. You cannot go to a practicum site and do what you want to do. You have to do what is needed at the site to comply with their wishes. After I communicated with the practicum site, they told me that medication errors continued to occur. I do not yet have a letter of support, but I have requested one already in week 1 so that I have it by the time I need to turn this completed form in week 5. Please be sure to fill this in completely. You need to pick a translation science model or a framework or change model to use for your project. In the next section on page 2, I've taken the liberty of filling some of this in so you don't have to watch me type. But in this section, you need to provide a problem statement to explain the issue or problem and describe the current process leading to the issue. So I said medication errors continue to occur despite the use of barcode scanning, double checking, and formal education. Several studies reviewed have demonstrated that interruptions during medication administration cause an increase in medication errors. Therefore, interventions that lead to a decrease in interruptions are a key component to decreasing errors and improving patient safety. Based on these findings, I'm seeking to answer whether or not a work redesign will decrease interruptions during medication administration. So in the next section, I'm providing a brief description using in-text references that support the need for change. Now, some of these are a little bit old because I did take this from my manuscript that was written in 2012. So please note that your articles need to be current within the last 5 years. So the Institute of Medicine on Errors in Healthcare stated, you can see this arrow over here is what you use to scroll up and down, that systems rather than humans cause most errors. The IOM estimates that 380,000 preventable medication errors occur in hospital settings. One study reported that out of 101,000 medication orders at 2 children's teaching hospitals, a total of 479 incorrect medication orders were identified, with 27 being potentially lethal. This suggests that errors often happen because of defects in the system or because of conditions beyond the control of the individual. Interruptions, defined as external random events that break into and disrupt a task or cognitive process, have the potential to lead to errors. Pediatric nurses selected interruptions as one of the key causes of medication errors. So then we want to write the purpose of the project, and you should state it beginning the purpose of the project. The purpose of the project is to evaluate the impact of interventions designed to reduce interruptions during medication administration in a pediatric inpatient setting. Based on the needs of the practicum site, you have your PICO question. And again, just for time, I have written some things down that I am going to copy and paste into the form. So this is my PICO question for nurses working on a pediatric oncology bone marrow transplant unit. What is the impact of a red light during medication administration on the rate of interruption over an 8 to 10 week period? Please note that my PICO question is not predicting what will happen. So I'm not saying the impact will decrease the rate of interruptions. I'm just asking about what the impact will be. So please be sure and do not have a leading or predicting PICO question when you fill this out. So my population is going to be nurses on an inpatient oncology bone marrow transplant unit. It is said when people are watching you type, you become a bad typist. Bone marrow transplant unit. This will be all full-time and part-time nurses working on the unit. No nurses will be excluded. The participant size is approximately 50 nurses. We do expect that when you turn this in, it will be free of spelling errors and grammatical errors. So be sure to check that. Okay, down here is a very important part. You're required to have a minimum of 5 contemporary research articles. That means they have to have been done within the last 5 years to support your practice problem and evidence-based intervention. 2 articles need to support the problem, and 3 need to support the intervention. So I also want to point out here that you must have level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 articles based on the Johns Hopkins table. We prefer that you have level 1, 2, or 3. You may not use, please note, you may not use literature reviews, scoping reviews, an article in a newspaper. You may not use other DNP students' papers as evidence if they're not published in a peer review article. So the way this should look is articles to support the practice problem. So again, I have found some articles and I'm just going to copy and paste so that you don't have to watch me type. Okay. Here are my 2 articles to support the practice problem. And then I have articles to support the intervention. And again, you need 3 articles to support your intervention. They should be primary research articles, so it's something that you can model your project after. So copy and paste those into here. And then you should also put an asterisk next to the article that you plan on modeling your project after. And please note that the intervention in the article must lead to the same outcome that you're looking for. So I'm looking for a decrease in interruptions. So the article that I choose must lead to a decrease in interruptions. And you can see this one is reducing interruptions during medication preparation and administration, an improvement project. So there are my 3 articles. If you're having trouble finding articles, please contact the librarian. Okay, explain the intervention that you will implement. So this is what this should look like for all of you. Week 1. I will educate the staff on the project, the red light, how to use it and when. I will also educate the unit members, including dietary, physical therapy, doctors, housekeeping, etc., on the red light and the meaning of it. I will collect data on interruptions. INTERRUPTIONS prior to implementing the intervention. And of course, you can be more detailed with your week to week than I am, because I don't want to keep you here all day. But this is the format it should be in. And then in week 2 through 9, the project will begin and will take place for a full 8 weeks. I will be on the unit 2 to 3 times a week to provide support, education, motivation, and any additional needs. I will be sure that the red light is being used during medication administration and explain the purpose to anyone who is not aware or who has forgotten. And again, you will be more specific in your implementation in this week's 2 through 9, but it is important that you write this, that the project will take place for 8 weeks and that you will be on the unit 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. And then in week 10, final data collection will occur. I will monitor the use of the red light and note any interruptions that occur during medication administration. I will thank the staff for their time and provide feedback as soon as possible. In this next section, we're asking you, given that you only have 8 to 10 weeks, is it feasible? We want you to think through this, because if it's not feasible, then you shouldn't do it. For example, if you want to follow a pregnant woman throughout her 9 months of pregnancy, that's not going to be possible because you only have 8 weeks to do this project. So you should write in here how it is that you're going to accomplish this in 8 weeks. Yes, it is feasible. I will provide education in week 1. Weeks 2 through 9 will be the intervention, which will provide time for the students to the students, sorry about that, the nurses, to become familiar with the process, and for the hospital unit employees to understand the purpose of the red light. And so that have correct spelling and grammar, I'm going to fix that. And you may explain a little bit further why this is feasible for you. In this section, you're going to explain your data collection measure and how you're going to measure it. So I will be observing interruptions during medication administration prior to the intervention. After a full 8 weeks, I will observe medication administration, the use of the red light, and interruptions that occur. Again, I want to check on my spelling. Okay. And then I will compare the rate of interruptions pre and post intervention and report to the unit. So my measurable outcome in this section is going to be interruptions, T-R-U-P, spell that right, interruptions, and it's going to be pre and post observations, medication administration, and interruptions. Oh, I can't spell that word. Okay. And down here, you are going to explain your plan for data analysis. Compare pre and post interruption rates. I will consult with a statistician. Okay. I should know how to spell rates after this. Okay. Do I have written permission? Consult. Do I have written permission to use the survey tool? I do, because although there is not a tool using observation data. So here we want you to think about, there are some survey tools that you need to get permission to use. So we really want you to think about that here. If you need to get permission, you need to start right away with writing the author to see if you can get permission to use the tool. Other than Chamberlain IRB, are there additional approvals? Yes, I must go through the quality review committee at my organization. I will begin that process as soon as possible. Okay. So that is all you need to do. Once you're at the end of page 4, you are done. You will turn this in to week 3. And the more complete you turn it in, the faster you are going to get it back, and you will be able to submit it to week 5. So your project faculty will sign here. They will send it to the peer review committee, who will sign here, and then they will return this form to you with both signatures. Once both signatures are obtained, they will mark your week 3 assignment as complete, and you will upload this signed form to week 5. Once you upload it to week 5, you will be done. So I do want to say that you can do this as soon as possible. You can get week 3 done And once it's signed, then you can turn it into week 5. It's very, very important that you monitor the comments on the week 3 assignment, because your faculty will give you comments for modification very quickly. And the faster you can do the modifications and turn this form back in to week 3, the faster that you'll be complete with the process. So I hope you found this helpful, and thank you very much for taking some time so that I could share this with you.